Athletic Club President Jean Urete wants to offer Nico Williams a new contract to fend off Arsenal interest. There were no active negotiations, but the chief plans to enter discussions over a new deal, with Williams very relaxed over his future. Of course, you're relaxed. You know, you've got big European teams scrambling over you. Smash the like button, by the way. You've got big European teams scrambling for you. You're at your boyhood club, which you have an affinity to in Bilbao, and you're getting paid handsomely, and you're 22, and the move will happen once upon a time. So, and you might get a new contract for even more money. We all know he's on 200 odd grand a week. What that would mean for Arsenal, because we're not going to bring in everybody and move players on at the same time. So if we assume we do what we want in that, Gyökeres signs, Nico Williams signs, Zubimendi signs, you'd imagine Zubimendi is going to get double his wages and sign a 4-year deal. So he's probably going to be on 100 grand a week. The same was said for, who did I say there? Obviously Nico Williams will be on big money. If you bring on Garcia, he's on a decent wage. You've still got Kai Havertz, still got Gabriel Jesus, still got Zinchenko, still got the Kieran Tierney's, Thomas Partey's, and Jorginho's, because I think their contract technically finishes in June. And then you've still got a lot of other players who, on the face of it, individually are not earning that much money. Well, it is a lot. 50 odd grand a week is a lot. But it all adds up. So it all depends. And especially if he signs a new deal, again, we have to restructure our wages. We have to move some players on. We clearly need to bring some players in, people. Arsenal target Nico Williams lined up for contract talks after Andrea Berta meeting. Now, agents meeting on behalf of players with sporting directors, managers and stuff, this happens. I'd imagine everyone in Europe that is truly interested in Nico Williams in the last 2 years, including Barcelona, have done such, people. Now, a new contract obviously gives him more money, gives Bilbao security, raises up the release clause, which is on 50 odd million. You'd imagine they severely want to extend that. So we'll have to see. Arsenal, Barcelona and Bayern Munich are all in the hunt for Nico Williams this summer, but there are still no guarantees he'll leave his boyhood club due to the complicated finances involved in a potential deal. I think unless Arsenal pull a blinder, I think unless Bilbao want us to pay his release clause, but not activate it and pay it in full and tailor the payments in a certain way, pardon me, I don't think we get Nico Williams, which if we have an ability to pivot, why not? Athletic Club are keen to extend Williams' contract in a bid to fend off mounting interest from Arsenal, Bayern Munich and Barcelona. The president of the club hopes to keep the Euro 2024 winner beyond the summer transfer window, but knows could prove difficult, given Williams is now considered one of Europe's hottest commodities. Arsenal view Williams as their top wide target, and newly appointed sporting director Andrea Berta is understood to have held talks with the player's agent Felix Tanter ahead of a potential swoop. The sticking point for Arsenal and other interested clubs is both Williams' sizable release clause and lucrative salary package he would desire in order to leave his boyhood club. The 22-year-old's release clause is set at 48.5 million, which is about 58 million euros, plus taxes, which would take the total package to around 51 million or 60 million euros. And the clear message being relayed from Athletic Club is the clause must be met upfront in full, not in staggered installments, which, again, we can do it, but that goes directly against what I said. So this obviously puts a spanner in the works, because we've got to do a lot of business. Furthermore, he plans to present Williams and his reps with the chance to enter formal contract discussions, though at this stage, sources have stressed there are currently no active talks or negotiations between the parties regarding an extension. The silky and skillful dribbler will have 2 years remaining on his deal signed in late 2023 at the end of the season. He remains a dream target for Barcelona, but their ongoing financial struggles significantly hamper their chances of brokering a deal unless they can create notable wiggle room, which we could do. Apparently, Deco is also a firm admirer of Luis Diaz, but apparently Hansi Flick doesn't like him, people. So, yeah, apparently the Spanish international, as we know, is relaxed over his future, doesn't want any distractions. At this moment in time, Bilbao are fourth in La Liga, trying to qualify for the Champions League, and they're still in the Europa League, people. Chelsea, Aston Villa, Bayern Munich, Arsenal, you've seen several clubs linked and no doubt will be linked, people. David Ornstein said, our long-running pursuit of Williams is based on Arteta's desire to sign him. It's well documented. A recruit in that position has been on the agenda for some time, and it remains the case. Clearly, it seems like Arsenal will try again, but this will be a highly challenging deal to do, and therefore there's no guarantee it happens. Williams is expected to be more open to a move in the summer of 2025 than previously, and I think for an ideal world for him, he wins the Europa League, qualifies for the champs, leaves on a high, and then either departs for Arsenal, Barcelona, Bayern Munich, or etc., etc. And we'll have to put him in our highest bracket of earners if they are to sign him, says the Telegraph. The players' reps would expect Williams to be placed in the same bracket as Odegaard, Kai Havertz, Declan Rice, and Bukayo Saka. So this is what I'm talking about. Naturally, if you're Saka, Gabriel Magalhaes, hope you get back from injury soon. Saliba, you're saying, hold on a minute. Gabriel Jesus and Kai Havertz are earning a lot more than me. Even Mikel Merino is earning more. Is earning more than Gabriel Magalhaes. We're going to need more. Obviously, if you're Kai Havertz, sorry, if you're Nico Williams, you're going to say, yeah, as a minimum, I need a bit more than I'm currently earning. Think about it logically, people. If you left your job, obviously money isn't the only motivation, and there is exceptions to the rule that people leave jobs that pay less for peace of mind, career progression, etc. But generally, you're only going to make a move if primarily you're getting paid more. And again, respectfully, from going from Bilbao to Arsenal and the glitz and glamour that provides, living in London, obviously the riches of the Premier League, and the fact that you're 22 and Arsenal probably are going to try to tie you down to a 5-year deal. You want top money, and you'd imagine if Nico Williams has this ability he has at 22 years of age, and he's going to get better and better, assuming he signed for Arsenal in an ideal world and was on a 5-year deal, you'd imagine there'd be improved terms offered within that period. So again, we've got to get a hold on the wages. We clearly need to flush several players out, sort out some contracts and bring money. I think Gyökeres is on like 40, 50 grand at Sporting. You'd imagine at 26, probably going to sign a 4-year deal with an option of a 5th. He's going to, at the very minimum, double his wages. So we'll have to see, people. We've covered this before, but Nico Williams, David Ornstein saying this is quite techie. Gyökeres is open to a move to Arsenal. The Gunners are set to open talks with Sporting after identifying the Swede as a more attainable option than Alexander Isak. Allegedly, Alex Crooker said he is understood to be impressed with the Arsenal project. The ITKs of this world have said Arsenal have been granting permission from Sporting to explore personal terms with the camp of Gyökeres. Apparently, his agent is also a long-term friend of Mikel Arteta. Now, many people will say, oh, it's Arteta getting his boys jobs, but and that could be the case. That could be the case, which is not necessarily a good or a bad thing. That could be the case. But anyone that understands football, it's a small world. Everybody knows someone. Everybody is like, to you lot listening, I might want to make contact with you. I might not know you directly, but I might know your friend or your cousin or whatever. So everybody kind of knows everyone, and that obviously can help if if Arteta can get a glowing reference from the man's agent. Obviously, the riches of the Premier League, the fact that the striker spot is ready made for him, and all the other reasons as to why Arsenal would be attractive. And it also helps that apparently Berta is pushing for him, as we've been hearing since Berta was officially announced, and he's strongly being considered to lead the line. It is crucial to stress Arsenal are merely laying extensive groundwork for a strong candidate. The new sporting director wants to ensure the club have multiple options to choose from when the time comes to decide. So does that mean we want to know the financial makeup, both for the personal terms and the transfer fee with Sporting? So in an ideal world, you sort all of that out. You might sort out all that kind of stuff with Sesko. In an ideal world, you're attentive to Isak, and there might be a bit of change in that regards that Isak is actually available. You go for him. If not, you've got plans in place to move in either direction. Or it might have nothing to do with that. All of the players Arsenal are linked with, and everybody wants them, and everyone can't get everyone. We're all caught in. If they sign for us, great. But if they're not, we have to have the ability to pivot. Powder dry, no players on the market, all of these things that are, I wouldn't say they don't make sense, but when you look at it really, really with what we're doing right now, people, apparently he's open and he said to be impressed by the project once again, people. So if he's open and talks have progressed, let's see what's going on. The price kind of fluctuates with Gyökeres. You see everything from 60 to 70 million euros. Apparently, Romano said if Isak is not available, which is the case, Gyökeres will be part of the conversation. But we might have a battle to keep to actually obtain him, people. Saudi Pro League side Al Qudaiza are in the battle for Viktor Gyökeres. Sporting want the biggest upfront fee they can get, as opposed to several low fee installments, and the Saudi club are capable of doing such. I mean, it's up to Gyökeres. I couldn't begrudge him if you've done what you've done at Portugal. You're at 26, you want to get a big contract. The Saudi league and the Saudi riches is great. And obviously kind of tailoring on from the Nico Williams stuff, in which we got to remember what's said in the papers and what actually was going on in the world of football can be different. But that tells us we might actually have to find the finances to pay up front. Because if Sporting might want to negotiate, and if Gyökeres or Nico Williams makes it clear I only want to sign for Arsenal, they're going to have to rejig their strategy. But they want their thing up front, or they want the biggest upfront fee for everybody that's looking at getting Gyökeres. The same was just said with Nico Williams. So by all means, go for these players. Make sure we have the ability to pivot. He's been linked with Arsenal, Man United, and Chelsea, and everything else. 43 goals and 11 assists in 43 games. I don't think you're going to do that in the Prem, but that is great, people. And this says he'll be available for 50 to 60 million, which again is substantially less than the reported 83.6 million release clause. And apparently Amarin really had to fight Sporting Lisbon to get this signing over the line. It's fair to say it worked out for everybody. Arsenal are ready to splash the cash. We hear the name Sesko. We know Berta is interested allegedly in Gyökeres. Apparently, The Saudi Pro League side that are interested in him already employ Aubameyang and believe they can compete because they will pay more upfront rather than spread the cost of payments. The emergence of Saudi sides has caused a ripple effect because, again, respectfully to Sporting, you're not necessarily going to care what Gyökeres does once he leaves, isn't it? If he's made it clear he wants to leave, you want to get the highest fee. Respectfully to Sporting, they're a big club, but a big part of their model, like the Benficas and Portos, is get these players in either from their academy or, you know, from South America. Remember when Shakhtar used to do that? Develop them and then sell to the highest bidder, as you've seen with Darwin Núñez and many a player people. Apparently, Gyökeres reportedly has his heart set on a move to a major European giant. You have also seen reports that he wants to play Champions League football next season. Arsenal, Liverpool, City, Real Madrid, Barcelona, PSG, or Bayern Munich have been listed as potential destinations. I'm sure he'd be open to all clubs. But at Man City, you're playing second fiddle to Haaland. To be fair, all depends on what happens with Mohamed Salah, but there's question marks over Jota, over Darwin Núñez, and over Diaz people. The only one I would say, apart from Salah, who's the contract thing, Gakpo. So there is a ready-made slot for you up front, and Liverpool have been linked with Isaac as well. So there's no smoke without fire kind of thing. City are going to be second fiddle. Real Madrid's Real Madrid. You know, you sign for them and then figure it out later. But I don't need to tell you, look, the riches of attackers they have over there. Barcelona, Lewandowski's not getting any younger. Paris Saint-Germain, I think there's a vacancy to play through the middle, especially with what Enrique's doing. Bayern Munich probably looking at a younger striker because Harry Kane's not getting any younger. So we'll have to see various degrees of interest. Everybody's interested in everyone, but being interested and actually talking and making bids and medicals and signing shirts, as you lot know, is a completely different entity. But in his last 7 games, man, like the man's just bagging and assisting for fun. 51 goals for him this season in all comps. I'd assume that's for club and country. If that's just for Sporting, that's mad. I did speak on this yesterday, but Arsenal and Liverpool allegedly are both competing to sign Eze, who'd be available for 60 million due to a release clause. And what I would say, please let me know your thoughts on Nico Williams, on Gyökeres, on any other brain sparks that you'll have had in anything I've said. And would you take Eze? Please make sure you're hitting the like button and subscribing. Romano said several positions, a striker, fullback, winger, and midfielder are wanted. I expect them to be very busy. When asked on how many positions Arsenal could strengthen this summer. Hugo Ekitike, 1 minute we're on him, then we're not. Arsenal, Liverpool, Man United allegedly have all held talks with Hugo Ekitike's reps last week. And I mean, it is for Hugo. I mean, where do you go? Do you go to Arsenal where there's potentially Kai Havertz? Do you go to Liverpool where if they move off Darwin Núñez, you're there? Man United, they've got a young Højlund and a young Xerxes. I think Xerxes better behind the striker. Can play up there and deputize, but better behind the striker. Højlund just can't score goals. Does he fancy it? And on top of allegedly being a Man United fan and being French, of course. And with what Arsenal are at this moment in time, with being French, of course, there's an attraction. Where Osimhen's concerned, apparently the battle is continuing to heat up. Arsenal and Man United are making official bids for the Nigerian people. That's according to Arda Özkurt, a Turkish journalist, that Man United and Arsenal have both launched talks. And apparently Barca, Liverpool and PSG are all following the case. Viktor Osimhen did not say anything about whether he'll stay at Galatasaray or not. He's currently focused on the championship and will make his decision accordingly. If the player wants to stay here, Galatasaray has already started preparations to secure that fee. I don't know, man. And he's always linked with Chelsea. I still reckon he goes over there. Allegedly, Xavi Alonso, who reports are getting very aggressive, could be going to Real Madrid. Apparently, he loves Zubimendi and would love to work with him. Romano said there's a possibility Alonso joins Real Madrid this summer, and that's why there are Real Madrid Zubimendi links. Gave him his chance at Sociedad. Arsenal's interest in Ollie Watkins is called. The move was very much based on the circumstances in January, with John Duran's move still up in air, people. He's also been linked with Bayern Leverkusen, but Real Madrid are preparing to compete with Barcelona and Arsenal over the signing of Garcia from Espanyol this summer. So we'll have to see exactly what's going on. Allegedly, Manchester City was the only English club to earn more from European competitions than Arsenal last season. Arsenal was 7th of all clubs in the champs, behind the finalists PSG, Bayern Munich, Man City, and Barcelona. And you look at the Prem clubs, look like this is just European competitions. And now, obviously, the Premier League TV rights is a whole nother talking point. But you look in European states, everybody's getting richer. You know, you look at them 8 teams there, people. Well, it's all English teams, but you look at what people are making. Brighton, who have been in the Premier League for what, 3, 4, 5 or so years, probably a lot longer. You look at what they're doing on top of sales. The rich are getting richer, people, essentially. Arsenal want to sell 11 players to bolster their transfer kitties. Zinchenko, Kivior, Partey, Jorginho, Tini, Tavares, Lokonga, Nelson, Vieira, Trossard, Tomiyasu, Sterling, and Neto. Can we sell all of these guys? Is this true? Or is the one consistency, a bit of different headlines, but is the one consistency is these lots' futures is up in air? Zinchenko's on 150 grand a week with a year left. it's Arsenal that need to move him on. Of course, game time, etc. He needs to move on. But what if he reckons that he reckons his manager is seeing that you need a bigger squad, you need to rotate, you could use me in midfield. Left back, you've got Lewis Skelly and Calafiori. You might not need to bring in a left back, and that can allow you and Berta to pivot elsewhere. But he needs to go play football. Kivior doesn't get football. You can see that. I mean, Partey, Jorginho, and Tini on paper, they're all gone. So that's like 300 plus grand off the wage bill a week already. Partey's on 200 and something. Jorginho's on 100 and something. Tini's on 100 and something. Tavares is gone because he's got an obligation to buy. Lokonga has a year left on his deal. We'll have to see what happens there. Nelson's got 100 grand. Currently 100 grand a week wages. Currently Nelson nursing a hamstring injury, so we'll have to see there. Fabio Vieira, God knows. Trossard's got a year left on his deal, and Saudi clubs have been linked. Tomiyasu is not going anywhere because he's out until December. But if we still have a theme next season of him with injuries, and there's not like a Thomas Partey ever present this year, the writing's probably on the wall. And Neto and Sterling obviously going back to their clubs because it's only a loan. So on paper, the only ones, there's a couple of names. Like Neto's guaranteed to leave. Sterling's guaranteed to leave. That's 2. Tavares is 3. Jorginho, that's 4. Tini, that's 5. And then 6 with Partey. And the rest is just speculative at best. We have been linked with Sane, but it seems like and it looks very good on Sane to potentially sign a new 3-year deal at Bayern Munich. Been interesting for Bayern, you know. Kimmich has signed a new deal. Unfortunately, Musiala suffered a hamstring injury last night. Thomas Muller has followed Kevin De Bruyne in being, you know, long custodians at their current clubs and announcing that at the end of the season, they're seeking pastures new, people. So we'll have to see exactly what's going on in that regard. So, yeah, man, it's going to be a busy summer in terms of ingoings and outgoings. But what do you lot think?